Are you trying to increase the size or the value of the sales you're making today? Finding it difficult to move existing prospects into the potential upsells you can offer them? Stay tuned. I'm going to talk about how to make your upsells complimentary so you close more of them. Hi, I'm Shawn Casemore, and I help you learn how to be a top performing sales professional so that you can earn more in less time. If that sounds good to you, make sure you click the like button on this video if you like it and subscribe to the channel. You'll be notified each and every time I release a new video. Let's jump into those upsells. First thing I want you to consider in your upsells, it's not the upsell itself. Because if you're in sales, you may not have the option to create upsells. They might be given to you, right? And you just have to sell them. So whether that's the scenario, or if you say, well, Shawn, I really don't have any upsells, then you need to create some. And to start with, just to give you a quick definition, an upsell is simply more of whatever it is you're selling. So it could be a premium version of, it could be more volume of. So even if you're selling widgets and you say, well, look, it's the widget, it's the price. Your upsell may be higher volume. Your upsell may be more or new quality checks that you apply that allows you to charge a premium. It may be that you include shipping versus not. So those are all examples of upsells, although shipping might be kind of a cross-sell. If I incorporate it, it still falls under the upsell umbrella. What I want you to notice is even if you don't have upsells, you can create them simply by the language you use. So step one always is to identify what are the upsells you have today. Write them down, list them out, or type them out in your computer so you're clear, because you're going to need to be clear to move to the next step. Step two when it comes to upsells is getting creative, which means that we don't want to wait and share those upsells at the very end of the sales process. We don't want to wait till they decide, yeah, send me a quote, or yeah, I think we're going to go ahead. And then you say, oh, well, let me ask, would you like more of that? Would you like more quality checks than that? Can I increase the size of your order? It's too late at that point. They've made a decision. All the studies show that about 80% of the time, 75 to 80% of the time of a sales process is spent researching and really coming up with a decision. Not much of that time, the balance, 25 to 20% of the time, is really spent with us. So if we are mentioning the upsell during the time that we have interacting with our prospect and it's later in the sale, we've missed the opportunity already. So make sure that you're mentioning your upsells early on. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say for a moment that you're selling mortgage insurance, okay? I'm trying to come up with an example. So you're selling mortgage insurance, and that's something normally that people get a mortgage, and then you mention to them, hey, you know what? You've got that mortgage, you should insure it, and here's the options. Blah, blah. Too late. Too late. What I want to be doing is reaching out to people who have a mortgage and might be renewing that mortgage at some point to say, hey, you should have mortgage insurance, and here's the reasons why you might consider, and here's different options you could use. So it could be different terms, it could be that different values of that mortgage insurance. There's all sorts of different options when it comes to mortgage insurance. What I want you to consider, though, is I want to be ahead of the game. I don't want to mention the upsells at the end of the sales process. I want to mention them at the beginning. Here's some things to think about. So let's use that mortgage insurance in the case of I'm having a meeting with a prospect. How would I mention that? How would I do that early? I would say, well, we're talking about their mortgage, we're talking about mortgage insurance and some different options that exist for them. And I say to them, you know, a lot of our best clients consider these three different options, and they actually look at the top option first and they weigh it against their current needs. But we'll come to that as we move forward. I just wanted to mention how a lot of my best clients work when they're faced with the same information you are. See, I'm planting seeds and I'm trying to influence, because what's going to happen, think about it, if I said something like that, you're thinking as the prospect, oh, okay, this is what other companies do or other people do, I should probably do the same, right? That's influence. So make sure you mention the upsells early on in the conversation, which increases your chance of converting them. Now let's move to the next step. When it comes to upsells, similar to the video I created on cross-sells, there's a three-step approach I want you to take when it comes to introducing upsells. Step one, have options that you share with your prospect. Not just an upsell, not a bigger version or more of. Have multiple options, which might require you get creative in what you're selling. Step two, beyond the options, I want you to mention these options throughout the sales conversation. So I mentioned in the last step, you've got to plant the seed, if you will. Mention the upsell early on. This is about mentioning it throughout the sales process, not just at the beginning, during our discovery dialogue, right? So let's say I'm asking you questions and we're in that discovery conversation. I might say something like, you know, a lot of our best clients like yourself actually at this point consider some different options for how they move forward with mortgage insurance. Is that something you're thinking about right now? And if you say yes, I say, well, let me just mention what some of the options are, and then we'll figure out which of those might make sense later on. See, I'm positioning, again, I mentioned it early on, Now I'm positioning in the discovery dialogue, the upsell. And then before I send you a quote, so we finish up the meeting, you say, send me a quote, this sounds good. I say, okay, on that quote, how would you like me to portray those options? Would you like me to list them out, or would you like separate quotes with the different options involved? And the goal here is I'm mentioning my upsells frequently. The more I mention them, and the earlier they're mentioned in the sales conversation, the better chance I have of closing them. So that's the second part of this. The third part is when I follow up with you to review the quote, I mention the upsells again. I say, you know what? Did you have a chance to review the quote and those different options I shared? I just spoke with a client the other day and they're actually considering option 3. Planting seeds again. So you notice, remember, sales is influence, and I can't mention things at the end of the sale and expect to close them. I've got to mention them throughout. So there's 3 steps you can take to ensure your upsells are actually sold to your customers or clients. The last step in ensuring that your upsells are bought, are purchased, are invested in, is to ensure that they look appealing, that they are appealing. And the way to know that is take a look across your existing customers or clients and take a look at what they've purchased in the past. Look for those distinctions where they've bought more of something or they've asked for different things that you've done. And then you really present those to existing customers and say, hey, question for you. So you call up Bob, who's a customer or client. You say, Bob, got a quick question for you. You purchased this. Now, again, it's an upsell, so whatever it is. You purchased more volume. You purchased this premium product. How has that worked out for you? What drew you at the time? What caused you to want to make that investment? Right? So you tap into your existing customers or clients to figure out, for those that have bought your upsell, why did they? That's key. And that answer is gold, because then that allows you to take their reasoning and use it as part of your sales conversation. This is almost a bonus tip that most people don't think of, which is, oh yeah, I could ask customers who I have upsold as to why they bought the upsell. Then I use that. Now I can use that in different ways. I can take their reasoning and include it as part of the sales process. Or I can simply say, as I mentioned earlier in this one, my best clients have actually purchased this option, and here's why. And ultimately, the ultimate here, if you want to close upsells, if I've talked to some existing clients and they're really happy with the upsell, really satisfied, when I finish that conversation, I say, well, look, if I ever get in a situation where somebody's considering something similar, are you okay if I connect them with you and you can tell them your experience? Bob, in my example earlier, is going to say, sure. And now I've got a referral that can help me close the upsell. Bonus tip, right? You ask your existing customers or clients who bought the upsell why they did. You use that in your language. And if the conversation with your existing customer or client goes well, you simply say to them, hey, could I use you in the event that a customer or client, a prospect essentially, is considering something similar? Customers or clients will say, yes, suddenly you've got a referral to help you close the upsell. So those are the tips and strategies I'll share with you on how to close more upsells, how to get creative, and ultimately increase the value of every sale. You'll notice some similarities with the cross-sell, and depending on what you sell, both may apply, or one or the other. So pick the video that's most applicable to you. Hope you've enjoyed this. If you'd like more videos on selling and sales in today's new economy, make sure you check out these videos next. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Let's get out there and go sell something. See you later.